It is finally upon us. It's going to be 9 days of crazy action. Before we get into it in a deep dive, let's get up to speed, Macca. What has happened across the weekend of free agency and the first day of the trade?
There's a bit happening, boys. We've got a Spargo back at North Melbourne. That's gone through today. Charlie Spargo going through. Braden Fiorini has now chosen Essendon instead of Port Adelaide. So that could yet be a trade, more so than free agency in that sense. We've got Sam Draper, we know, is going to Brisbane. Tom De Koning, Jack Silvani to St Kilda. James Worpel to Geelong. And Jacob Ware to Port Adelaide. The one is an interesting one is Brody Mychek. We know that he wants to play with Melbourne. But that could yet be a trade. Just working through that at the moment. So the 18 list managers all assembled at Marvel Stadium today. There was so much gibberish, there was so much bluff, there was so much nonsense about players they will and will not trade. Joey, here are some of these massive names. Who takes your fancy there? Who's on the top of the dais in terms of the number one game changer by next Wednesday? Well,
it's probably the best and biggest list we've had in probably ever for the trade period, with the names that are the calibre of players. But I think for me, it's the Christian Petracca trade that I think is going to elevate the Gold Coast Suns. I think that is a great get. If the Gold Coast can pull it off and get it done, I think he's still got 2 to 3 good years of football left. I know we'll touch on him a little bit later, but what he can do to this Suns side can elevate them to be premiership favourites.
Clayton Oliver is a lightning rod for criticism. He's also a damn fine footballer. So the news today, Macca, Collingwood is in the race as well as GWS.
Not a total surprise when you think there was a bit of murmuring around the Collingwood best and fairest on Friday night that they needed another sort of inside mid there as well. Now, the GWS, they put on the Subway spread and the Harbour Cruise. I reckon Collingwood, Joey, are really going to have to do their due diligence in regard to that. They're going to have a good chat to Clayton, but they're going to do a lot of work now. He comes with a lot of complexities, doesn't he, as we know with Clayton there. But at his best, could he make a difference for Nick Dacos in there? Yeah,
I think he can. I think now we know what Clayton Oliver's going to be. I think we've got to understand he's going to be a good AFL inside mid, a ball winner, not probably the All-Australian level of Clayton Oliver a few years ago, but he's still a more than competent AFL inside mid that can complement both teams, I think, the Giants and Collingwood. I think it is a good fit for the Pies. I mean, we've already seen they're all in again. They are trying to go and win another flag while they've still got all the veterans on their list. So to support De Goey and Dacos in there, I'm not convinced Ned long-term is the answer. He played well the first half of the season, but just, regressed back to the mean a little bit back end of the year. We know what this guy can do. As I said, I don't see him reaching those All-Australian levels again, but he might not have to. He might just have to be a guy that can win 25-30, dispose of the game, win the contest and clearance, and be a complementary midfielder.
Joey, here's the problem, though. You're getting him on a 5-year deal. Now, if it is that Melbourne will pay $700,000 of that deal, they absolutely want him out of their football club. So 5 years is a long time. When you do eventually need to play some of those Ed Allen types and Harry DeMatters, all those guys who have basically been stopped from having opportunities. So what happens 3 years in, when they're ready, Nick Dacos is still flying, and you go, we've got 2 more years of Clayton Oliver, which you talk about complexities, abusing journos, all those type of things. We deserve to be abused a lot. But I reckon that was another reminder that he is... it's a lot when you get Clayton Oliver into your football club.
Yeah, they need to do their due diligence. There's no doubt about that. That's going to be what you need to find out about Clayton. As I said, I think we all know what he is.
This is not one phone call, Joey, is it? It's not one phone call.
You need to do some work behind the scenes. But again, he's not going to cost a lot of money, and he's not going to cost a lot of draft capital with what you need to give up to get him. So I think for a club that's in the premiership window, if it helps the team and it makes them better, and I think he will for both those clubs, well, they might as well have a crack.
I think the message is clear as well, that this is now Cozzy Pickett's midfield. And so, in those last 6 weeks, Christian Petracca was moved out of that midfield. They had a lot of narrow losses against quality teams, and yes, they only had, I think, 2 wins in the last 7. But I'm excited if I'm a Melbourne player. Lindsay, Langford, Windsor went in the last couple of weeks, and he didn't kick it well. But all of a sudden, it's absolutely a new-look midfield. Joey, can this side, still not compete, but still get somewhere around that finals mix, even without a couple of those star players in this team?
They can. We've seen it in the past. Don't be afraid to lose good players, because teams can still win games of football. It'll be, as you said, it'll be a fresh midfield in there. Trent Rivers was another one who showed he could play as an inside mid, but didn't get the chance. I think that, despite losing 2 of the greats of the club, let's be honest, in Petracca and Oliver, I still think they can go pretty well.
Well, that regeneration sometimes really gives a team, particularly with a new coach as well, gives the team a kick along. You talk about Collingwood, that's where I'm a little bit concerned with the Pies, in that they are an ageing midfield group there, and there is that talk they need to get. Ed Allen's played 7 games in a row. I think he's played 13 overall, 7 in a row. That's the most he's played this year. He needs to be playing 8 or 10.
Christian Petracca to the Suns. Macca, how does it get done?
This is the Gwyneth Paltrow, Chris Martin conscious uncoupling. I reckon this is absolutely sensational. It should happen. It feels right. This time last year, it didn't feel right. Getting that done, you look at it. You're looking at the Suns will almost have the Saints pick 7. We think that's going to happen. Maybe a future first as well. Would a player need to be thrown in as well? This is a great deal if they can get this done. I reckon Gold Coast. You're looking at Rowell, Anderson, Miller, Petracca. Brisbane had the Fab Four, Leigh. This is getting close to it as well.
It's frightening what this midfield will look like. Already the best duo in the competition, Anderson and Rowell. Tuke Miller had an unbelievable season as well. Now you throw in this guy. I wonder whether Damien Hardwick has pitched to him the Dusty Martin role. We want you to be centre bounce, around contest, but then you play forward of the ball and we'll maximise your strengths and be able to get 25 touches out of you but kick 40-plus goals and what a bonus it would be for the Suns. As I said, a team that are right on the cusp of being a grand finalist.
So it's not Christian Petracca or Bailey Humphrey, it's both of those players, because here is Craig Cameron, the Suns list boss, on keeping Bailey Humphrey today.
We won't be trading Bailey Humphrey, so it doesn't matter how many clubs he meets, we won't be trading him.
And where does he sit on that? Does he understand? Is he accepting that?
But he understands he's contracted for 3 more years. The thing about having a player contracted is that sort of sits with the club as to make a decision, and with Bailey, he's just a no.
So this is one of the quotes I actually believe today. They are resolute. I think the view is that he likes to be loved. He likes to have attention smothered on.
Speed dating almost.
Yeah, Hawthorn feels like, having met him, that, of course, we wouldn't meet him unless he has some interest there. But this kid could be an absolute superstar. You know, he could be the Dusty Martin. He could be the Christian Petracca as a 22-year-old. He's got everything, Joey. He
does, and that's why it's fascinating how he's going to work in with Petracca when that deal, most likely gets done, because, he's got those attributes, as you just touched on. I think it's the way the modern world now, some young players, they go and have a look and go and get some interest, but, he probably knows there's no real chance of him leaving, but still doesn't stop the players that are a bit more open these days to speak to other clubs, and good luck to him.
I think you believe anything now when people are meeting, clubs all the time. It doesn't matter whether you're contracted and how long you are. You're going to meet other clubs. That's the speed dating generation of what we're doing now.
Yeah, and if you're the Suns, you get this done. And I think that's their view on Petracca. They know it will be challenging. So pick 7, they might get a pick for Braden Fiorini, either through a trade or free agency. They've got a full suite of picks next year. It will be harder to secure academy picks. But their view is, when Petracca wants to come to you, you do not fumble your lines. You absolutely get this one done.